Good morning, or actually, let's say sometimes good afternoon to some of you people out there today. This is Tom Chesser, and I'm the host here with my friend Joseph Land. Joseph Land has started this amazing opportunity, which is the Ask Joseph Land Insiders Club. And we do the Joseph Land Insiders Club show every Monday to share some of the things that people are doing within the club itself. There's a lot of great comments that have gone on. There's a lot of great people that have joined. There's a lot of questions that have been asked. So today we're going to get started talking about some of the questions and welcoming some of the people that are on the show. But some of the questions, Joseph, that people have asked you recently, I mean, just recently, people have really been commenting and following and doing a great job of giving you some feedback on things that they want to learn about. So can you share some of those things that people have been sharing with you?
Yes, Tom, thank you. And it's great to be on the show today, and very excited about the opportunity that I have to impact other people's lives and to do this show on a weekly basis and to really help people become successful, not only in business, but in life. And, goodness knows in the environment we're living in today, people need encouragement. And I want encouragement to be a big part of what we do here. But I had Angela send me a message from last week's show and say, what does it take to become an entrepreneur? That's a great question to start right out of the chute. And I know, listen, hey, I know not everybody's going to own a business, and everybody, is going to have a job and earn money. And so I want to teach you to be the best person at your job that you can be. Have you ever been in a company and there was this person that every time their name came up, somebody had something nice to say about them and they were excited about them, and, they just added value to everything? Well, that's the person you want to be. And Jennifer and I have a little dog, and when people see him, their eyes light up, and, nobody ever has a bad thing to say about him. And I want to be like him, So when people see me, I want to bring the light, so to speak. But what does it take to become an entrepreneur? That's very interesting. When I started my first business, I was afraid, but I knew I wanted to be in business for myself, and I didn't have a lot of money to get started, and I was afraid. But I knew that in order to make a difference, to be able to do things for my parents and to do the things that I wanted to do for my family, I needed to do something different, than what the norm was. And so I remember starting up my business, people would say to me, gosh, you're taking a big chance. You're gonna lose everything, kind of thing. And I said, gosh, I don't have anything to lose. I'm just getting started here. But once you have that dream and you're excited about it, the resources and the things will come to you. They'll actually show up. And so I think what it takes to become an entrepreneur is, one, have a dream or a vision in your heart that you think you're supposed to accomplish. And then two, start out, just go ahead and get started, because you don't have to have all the answers to the questions before you get started. They'll come along. And so you want to develop the right attitude and the right mindset and the right belief. We talked a little bit about belief last time, but you want to have that belief system so that when you get started, you're very successful at what you're doing, and there's no denying you. And so what does it take to become an entrepreneur? I think that extra little bit of grit, that little bit of go for it attitude, that separates you from the pack.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't take the grit, it takes that motivation behind the grit. And you are committed. Once you're committed to doing what you're doing, just stay true to your course. Now, recently, it was so interesting because I had the privilege of seeing you on, I believe it was the James Q show. Tell me a little bit about, And what you talked about on that show really impacted my life. And I think it impacted a lot of people's in that audience that day on that show, because you talked about choosing the right type of mentor and what the value of mentorship is all about. Can you share with us a little bit about that show and what you talked about and really about mentorship?
Yes, I think mentors are so important. And, I don't use the word coach that much, but playing sports, I had a lot of great coaches or mentors in my life that helped me achieve the next level in what I was trying to do. And I remember my father, who played semi-professional baseball. My father was my mentor in training me how to play baseball. And the little ins and outs and things that he taught me would take you years to learn otherwise. But having done what I wanted to do, he knew firsthand how to do it and the little tricks of the trade that helped me get there faster. But as I was saying on James Quandel's show, I mean, what a great guy and what a great show he does. But I was telling him that the people that I mentor, I teach them that their personal example really sets the tone for what they want to become, and also if they're running a company, it sets the culture for their organization. From your attitude to your work ethic, from dressing like you want to be addressed. And this is so critical. This is one thing I was discussing with my wife over the weekend. When we walk into a store in our town, now don't take this the wrong way. This is an example of being addressed the way you want to, of dressing the way you want to be addressed. When we walk into a store, we absolutely grasp people's attention. Number one, because of the way we carry ourselves, and number two, because of our attitude, our positive attitude. We never not acknowledge someone and say hello or how are you doing today and these kind of things. When you learn that from a business perspective, it's powerful. I have never not been able to sit down with a person in a business that I'm trying to get to talk to what I want to talk about, because I always show kindness to the people that are guarding the gate, so to speak. And so you want to project what it is that you're trying to do, and your leadership is the most powerful example. Your personal example is your most powerful leadership quality that you can exhibit. And I always tell people, you things into existence, and so be careful because those words can catch up to you. And what I want to do is I want to speak what it is I want into existence, and that comes from having the right mentor. I didn't just dream that up. I was taught that along the way. I didn't just get in the transportation business. I had someone who helped me learn how to do it. And it's so important to have the right mentor and to learn the skill set that you need to be successful.
Absolutely. Mentorship is so important. And that's why I think you really started the Ask Joseph Land Insiders Club, was to share the years of experience. I mean, I'm thinking like 35 years worth of experience in building these multi-million-dollar companies, that you have actually started this to share that process and, help people get through those pain points that they're experiencing today. So having the Insiders Club, I think, is a tremendous value to each and every one of us that are a part of that. And I'm excited to see this thing growing as fast and like it's growing. And today, we have some very special people on the show. And I want to offer an opportunity. You talk about Jennifer. We see Jennifer. And Jennifer, if you can unmute yourself, we'd like to hear a little bit about what you do. And, I understand you, every time I see you on social media, or I see you guys, you and Joseph out, hanging out and date night and personally being out there, man, you guys look like $1 million every time. I mean, that's unbelievable. I guess it really doesn't hurt Joseph, appearance to have such a beautiful woman like you. And I believe you were a model. Is that correct? And you have your own company. Can you fill us in a little bit about the power of what you're doing and how you and Joseph work so well together?
Well, Tom, I think my nature is I'm a gift giver. So I started a promotional product branding company, and that really centers on targeting what specific needs of clients are, targeting who the gift is going to. I'm very good at kind of saying, well, this product would work, this product wouldn't work, to make longevity of the product last and more meaningful. I think that I've been doing this for probably maybe 10 years and had my company for 6 years. And Joseph's really been behind me and supportive as far as, bouncing ideas off and staying driven and motivated, especially in this market. It's amazing though. It's really a really people industry as well. And if what I learned in the many years that I worked as a promotional product consultant is, if the client if they don't like you, they're not going to buy from you. And it doesn't matter what product you have. So it goes back to projecting yourself as a person of knowledge, a confident person, and also a caring individual who's trustworthy. And I think that, it goes without saying that people really aren't going to call you back for that second time around or that first time around, that job opportunity, if they don't like you and if they don't see results as well. But I also too learned that when I worked with Hanes Brands very closely in Champion in North Carolina, they were one of my top clients. And when I think what I benefited most was making a mistake, having a supplier drop the ball. And they immediately turned all eyes on me to say, what is this woman going to do about this? How is she going to correct it? Well, I was in a position where I could either discount the whole entire order with Champion, or I could literally trace it back to the manufacturer in the warehouse. And thankfully, I lived close enough to where I was able to literally go down to that warehouse, help them package the products, help them stay on course and deliver. And after, I thought it was going to be my downfall with Hanes and Champion, but it turned out to be, a blessing in disguise. And you really have to, keep the faith and move on.
You mentioned the thing because they turned to you as a solution provider. They didn't just look at you as a sales rep. They didn't look at you as somebody that represents the company. They looked to you for the solution that you had to offer. And nobody has all the solutions, and a lot of answers are being asked out there. But, it's very important to position yourself as a solution provider. Joseph, I'm going to ask you this question. What solutions do you think businesses are in dire need of today? I mean, our environment has changed. Our economy has changed. You have a financial company that is doing really well, but helping people gain money. What solutions do you think people are looking for in looking forward to even this new year?
Well, Tom, and thank you, Jennifer. That was excellent. Tom, I think one of the things that I'm seeing with people that own businesses today, I have a number of friends who are in the restaurant business, and they're having problems getting help. They're having problems getting employees. And so one of my main things that I tell people that own a business, the people that work for you, God has put those people under your charge for a reason, and you want to treat them like you want to be treated. You want to set a culture of taking care of your people at any cost. And I'll tell you the reason I think so fast in the transportation business when you're running 1,500 trucks and you're needing drivers all the time. And we were in a situation where we never needed drivers. We never lost drivers for that matter, is because we treated the drivers like family. We treated their family like family. For instance, when a driver was, 4,000 miles away and his wife needed something, we made sure that that family was taken care of while that driver was gone. And guess what the wife would tell the husband when the driver would come home? Hey, you're working for a great man, he took care of us while you were gone. He gave us your salary and this and that. And it's just how you treat people. And so that's the first thing I would say. And someone always asked me last week, said, what do you stand for? I mean, that's a really tough, blunt question. What do you stand for? And what are your values? And so I'll tell you, I believe in people, number one, and I believe in helping people. And I believe that my life needs to be God-centered, and that I need to have a spiritual time daily to keep it that way. And I believe, going back to what I said, is my core values are treating people the way that I want to be treated. And I probably shouldn't give you this example, but my wife and daughter went into a store a month or so ago, and the person who was running the store was very rude to them. Now, they were dressed in athletic, wear, and probably weren't dressed in their finest, but Jennifer has the capability of buying the store if she wants to. But so anyway, so they were kind of rude to my wife and daughter, and so recently, my wife and I had a chance to go back in that store, and my wife bought something, and I asked the lady who was running the store. I said, my wife and daughter were in here not long ago, and someone was rude to them, and I think you should know that, because here we are again. We love your store and we want to support you. But, I run a big company. If somebody was rude to one of my customers, I'd like to know about it, so I could correct that culture in my business. And sugar wouldn't have melted in her mouth. She was so kind to us because, hey, this is the truth. If you're running a business, you want to treat your clientele the way you want to be treated, and you want them to be glad they came to support your business. And so I want to be glad that I'm in someone's enterprise and supporting that enterprise, and I want to be made to feel that way. Have you ever been in a store where you didn't really feel comfortable being there, and they weren't nice to you, and you just couldn't wait to get out the door? Well, that kind of business, in my view, is not destined for great success. But when people come into yours and they leave and they think, oh man, what a great experience, you're destined for great success.
Experience means everything. And on the show today, we have several people I noticed. I want you to go down and I want you to introduce a couple of these people. I see Shane's on the show there, and I know I heard some of her comments, and they kind of really interested me. So why don't you introduce some of the people that are on this show, if you don't mind?
Okay. Shane, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good. I look forward to our session tomorrow at 1:30.
Yes.
I look forward to speaking to you, but you had some really wonderful comments last week. Would you like to say a few words to everyone listening?
Well, I have to say I was really inspired and excited after our meeting last week. It really got the wheels turning, and I started to think about my business, which is a wellness business and healing. I started to think of it in a broader sense and what else I can bring into it and greater possibilities. And so I already see the great benefit of spending just an hour with you.
Yes. Well, thank you. And I have, God has given me great discernment, and I can see in people sometimes what they don't see in themselves. Just like my father would tell me, don't pay them any attention. They never played in the big leagues, listen to what I'm telling you kind of thing. I'm not quite that blunt, but I I like to tell people, sometimes people are gifted in a way that they can touch on something that just is a game changer and put your business in a vertical flight. And that's what's happened to me a number of times. Just a suggestion from someone that was employed in one of my businesses put it in a vertical climb. And so that's why Shane, we need to be open to each other to hear what people have to say and embrace other people's thoughts and suggestions, so that somebody might deliver just a small gem that changes the course of what we're doing. And so that's why I'm always open. Not every idea is a great one, but occasionally someone will give you a little gem that will change the course of your entire business. And I look at the companies out there today that if you want to be really successful in something, do something that really enhances the way people live their lives. For instance, Uber. I mean, think about that. Just think about when people want to ride somewhere, what do they say? Well, let's just get an Uber. It used to be, well, let's get a cab, or let's get a taxi, or something like that. And where we live in Charleston, South Carolina, there's a bike taxi company. The streets are small, and so those guys have a really good business going, because it's kind of a novel thing to get in a bike taxi with your wife and go to dinner. And so any little thing like you suggested, Shane, last week can take someone's business to a whole new level. So I appreciate you and thank you for that.
Now, Shane, I'm gonna jump in here for just a minute. We weren't privileged. All of us on the show today weren't privileged with the conversation you had with Joseph. I heard it was a great conversation. What did you glean out of that? And what other things do you need to help your business to grow that can actually inspire each and every one of us on the show? What things kind of can you share a little bit of that conversation with us? I'm not asking you for the detail. I just want to know how the impression went and what really impacts you the most in the conversation.
Well, first of all, I think it was the encouragement that I got, that Joseph said that I was ready to go to a new gear, which was an expression I'd never heard before. But I started to think about it, and I was like, oh, wow. Nobody's ever said that to me about my business before. So that was a game changer right there. And then I just started to imagine what that might look like.
Yeah,
it's amazing what your imagination can do, Joseph. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, when I told Shane that I thought her business was getting ready to get another gear, I could really see that in her. And, it's like, what does getting another gear mean? Well, it means like if you're in a stick shift and you're changing from third to fourth, you're getting to higher RPMs and you're moving on and you're going faster. And the one word that she used is really my trademark. I'm going to encourage people no matter what. And because you never know when you're speaking to the next Steve Jobs or the next person that invented Uber, you never know who you're speaking to. And if you just encourage that person, they're gonna make a difference, and they're gonna bloom where they're planted. And so that's what I encourage people to do. I saw Clarissa on today. Clarissa, you want to unmute yourself and say a few words? You might not be in a place where she can.
Yeah, she might not be able to be there, but if you can unmute yourself and speak up, we'd love to hear you, love to see you. And there's so many great people on here. I know Emily just jumped on the line here with us. And then you've got Doris and Mark and Justin. So let's try to make the rounds here and pick some of their brains so that they can learn what they need to learn to take their business to the next level.
Okay, Mark, why don't you share a few words with us?
Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's a privilege, actually. And Joseph is a man of his word. I'm seeing a lot of, of 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 positive changes in my life at the time I get to know him. So my wife actually is with me. Doris is in this call. So all I'd like to say is that I'm thankful. I'm grateful to have Joseph and Jennifer around, lives. And I'm looking forward to knowing a lot more how to improve pretty much everything, leadership, business, and even our own personal development.
Well, thank you, Mark. You're such a sharp guy and such a smart, innately smart person, and I learned a lot from you as well.
Well, thank you very much.
While we got it, we got Doris sitting up right next to him, so we're going to open it up to her and let her have a word here in it as well. We know how our wives, want to edify. So go ahead.
I'm really glad to be part of the team, and knowing I've known Joseph for a year already, and I'm really thankful that he is so patient with us and generous in everything that he does. He always do it God first, and I'm looking forward to learn more about this. And I'm so excited about the show, and I know that he will help a lot of people.
And
Yeah,
where are you and Mark located? People need to hear that.
We're located in the Philippines, particularly in the South area.
Oh, wonderful.
Halfway
And
around the globe.
And Shane, you're in Martha's Vineyard?
Nantucket Island, not far from
Nantucket Island. Great. And well, that's wonderful. And part of the thing that I do with the first 20 people that come into our Insiders Club is I do a 20-minute personal thing with them, count a session. And so I look forward to doing that with you tomorrow. And Emmy is on. Emmy, I'm going to do that with Emmy today at 2:00. So Emmy, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and say a few words, but it certainly is good to have you on with us today as well.
Hi, everyone. Good morning from Arizona. Yeah, I'm so glad to be part of this group, and I'm really looking forward to Joseph about anything that I think he will help me with. And it is a pleasure to be proud with like-minded people, have the same aspirations and goal, not only for myself, but for the whole world as well. So thank you so much.
Well, Emmy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. Can you do that with us? Share who you are a little bit more?
Sure, of course. Yeah. So I'm originally from the Philippines too. Yeah, I am from the Central Philippines, and I used to work with Chevron there, and then I got married to my best friend who is a naturalized U.S. citizen. So I had to move here and start my own life. Unfortunately, my husband passed away 5 months after our marriage, and so here I am living alone. And but I didn't feel alone because Charlie, Master Lama, and Jimmy Schwinn gave me company, and knowing Joseph as well through the Mastermind series helped me having a not to feel alone, despite being physically alone. So my specialization is I'm a business continuity certified professional. I've been the crisis management advisor for Chevron in the Philippines for 8 years. But here in the US, I'm starting out, and it's a bit difficult, but since I'm going through grief still, I'm starting with a not very challenging job and not very demanding as well. So I'm working in an aerospace company in the admin department. And
Wonderful.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. I finished mass communication, by the way.
Oh, fantastic. And, you know, each and every one of us here are business people, and we specialize in different things, and we like to hear different things that people are doing. I mean, Shane's in the wellness industry, you know, and that's impressive to what she's doing in that deal, because that's much needed. Emmy, what questions, and I do want to remind everybody, there is the chat that's open. So if you have questions or comment, or you want to reach out and stay in touch with people that are on the show, you know, because all of us are really part of this deal, to be a part of the Insiders Club and get to know other people that have like-minded interest as we do, and to be able to share their story so all of us can learn. So this isn't just one teaching somebody, it's all of us learning together. So Emmy, if you have any questions, anybody has any questions, put them in the chat box. So we'll be able to use that for future shows as content, but as also as comments. So please feel free to do that at any time. Joseph, tell us a little bit about more. I mean, you're going to be with Emmy today, huh? So you got a meeting with her, and that.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I'm looking forward to it. Let me give you a question that I also got last week. And this is so interesting. What book should every business owner read? Right. And I'm going to tell you, this is a book. I'm going to give you 3 books. All right. And so these 3 books, everybody should read, period, whether they have a business or not. All right. So the first book, of course, is the Bible, and I read mine every day, and I get up early in the morning. That's my discipline. And I spend time reading in the Proverbs. I'll give you a clue. There are 31 Proverbs, and there are usually 31 days. And so if today is the 17th, I read the 17th proverb. So that's the clue. And there's so much wisdom that comes from the Proverbs. The second book I would recommend that everyone read is Cash Flow Quadrant. Cash Flow Quadrant is written by a guy named Robert Kiyosaki, who is an acquaintance of mine. And he buys his clothes in Charleston from the same place I buy mine. And he wrote this book, Cash Flow Quadrant. And he talks about the 4 quadrants: the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor. Actually, Tom, when I read that book, I threw it down on the coffee table and I said, I could have written this book, because that's the way I've operated all my life. I've always had a business. I've always invested and had things that created income for me when I wasn't working. And so if you really want to learn the basics of why you're in business and why you invest, that is a great book, and some great stories of his growing up with his rich dad and poor dad. His poor dad was very highly educated. His real father, his rich dad, had very little education, but tremendous assets and tremendous business savvy and tremendous residual income. So the third book I would recommend, and I threw this one on the coffee table when I got through reading it, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. All right, Dale Carnegie. When I started my transportation business, here I am, a guy with a business degree. I've been to law school. I'm very well qualified in business starting out, but I didn't know jack squat about the transportation business. I'm learning on the fly, like most people do. And so what I realized right away, that I wasn't in the transportation business. I was in the people business. And so what I needed to learn how to do was relate to people on every level of my business, from the CEO of Pillsbury to the person on the dock loading my truck. And if I could make them feel better for having had a conversation with me or the culture I was creating in my company, then I would win. And so those are my three suggestions for books. And I thought that was a great question to ask me, what am I reading? And I'm going to give you another little clue. If you have a phone or an iPad, you can download now an app called Blinkist, Blinkist, and you can read 5 or 6 books a day if you want to, because they like the old Cliff Notes we used to have in school, where they paraphrase what the book is about. Well, this does the same thing, and so I was reading recently a vegan diet for athletes, and there's all kinds of things you can read on there, but you can read 4 or 5 of those books a day if you want to, or 4 or 5 a week. But a lot of executives, high-end executives I know now today, are using that app, and they're reading all these books that come out, so they're familiar with them. So that's my tip of the day.
It's
You're
so
muted, Tom.
important. Yeah, I found out I did that. I was going to make sure there wasn't any noise in the background. But, it's so important to stay skilled and to hone your skills in what you do. And reading and listening to other people and mentors like yourself always are a good thing. I believe, honestly, the things that make us the best in life is the acronym for BEST is BEST, right? So belief, enthusiasm, skill, and tenacity. So I believe,
Yes.
If you believe in something strong enough, right? You believe in something strong enough, you're going to act upon it. You're going to believe in what God created you to do and who you're intended to be, and you're going to believe in what you do. And if you stay excited about it, nobody can stop you. But you do have to hone your skills. And I think if somebody will put some of those books in the chat box, I think that's really, really good advice. And I know that's something you'll continue to share with us, is some of the powerful things that have influenced you and some of the stuff that you're reading. So thank you very much. I saw Clarissa asked about the book on chat, and Doris, I actually gave her some information. So any of those other ones that you just put in, I think are really excellent. Another book I really encourage you to get here soon in February is one, The Land of Success, Going from Burnout to Victory. Tom Chesser happens to have an self-promotion in there, a chapter in the book, but I'm just saying that. Thank you very much. I know you have some other people. I see Justin on the show today, and we'd like to hear from him as well. So Justin, unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. I have to say, I really enjoy anytime I hear Joseph speak. You know what I really like? It's such a positive atmosphere, and it's really time well spent. I really get good vibes, and I really feel optimistic. I love it. I really do. I'm a small business person. I have a small marketing agency. Actually, just to tell a little bit about myself, I'm turning 50 soon, so it's a milestone in my life. I'm privileged to make it to 50, I guess I could say. And I really want to do the best I can for the future. I've been obviously thinking about scaling up my business. I have lots of ideas. I have lots of people that, in my life that I want to help at this point. I really want to, I feel like it's time for me to give back. It's a nice feeling where I'm at. And, some of the things I guess, well, one of the questions I was going to ask you, I was thinking of asking you, Joseph, is that I get, obviously a lot of people come to me with advice and ideas. And I know that, you just running a multi-million-dollar business and having a lot of managers, having a lot of employees that you talk with on a daily basis in the past, how do you weed out the good ideas? How do you figure out exactly what you should do? Besides, obviously you have your own goals, but when people are constantly pitching ideas and pitching advice to you, how do you weed out the good ideas from the bad ideas?
Well, that's a great question, Justin, and thank you for that. You'll know, you'll really know if you're in the day-to-day running your business. I remember I would have a manager come to me who was based upon his productivity. His commission was based upon his productivity, and he would have a suggestion that he would want me to try in our entire company. And I would always say, well, that's a really great idea. Why don't we try it in your branch first? And then if it's successful, in other words, if you really think this is a great idea, then I'm willing to take some risk if you're willing to take some risk, right?
He's got some skin in it.
So let's try it in your branch first before I put it in the global population of my company. Let's try it in your branch first. If it doesn't work, it only hurts you and me. But if it works, and boy, you can see them start backing up sometimes and start assessing what they have recommended because they really don't believe in it. Or if they're really that strong in it, they say, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. I'm all for it. And that's how you know. It's kind of like the two women in the Bible claiming that the baby was theirs. And Solomon said, well, let's just cut the baby in half and each one of you have a half of the baby. Well, the real mother said, no, give her the baby. And Solomon said, you must be the real mother. And he took the baby and gave it to the real mother. And so you just have to pray for discernment, and you look at these things and you say, gosh, that's a great idea. Why don't we try it in your department first? That makes sense?
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, people have to have buy-in. They have to have skin in the game. They have to really believe in it, or at least show overwhelming data that this would work.
Yeah. If you have someone who makes a suggestion and they're willing to jump in the boat and make it work, then all of a sudden everybody's seeing it work and everybody jumps in. And that's what you call getting the buy-in. And I've seen that happen so many times. But I've also seen people who just want to give input or just be heard, and it doesn't go anywhere. So you just have to. I always pray for that discernment. I always pray for that discernment. And then the other thing I do is I ask questions and listen. And when you're asking someone the right questions, you pretty much find out if it's a great idea or not. And if number one, they believe in it.
I agree. Good. Thanks for the advice.
Well, that's great. Justin is such a warrior and such a great man and got such a great heart in the business. I'm just so proud to have you as my friend. And, I want to say on this call, I'm going to say this every Monday on this call, we're going to create our own economy here. There are going to be people like Shane. I can't wait to talk to Shane. I'm a health nut. I can't wait to talk to her about what she's doing with her business because Jennifer and I are going to support her, period. I don't even know what she's doing. I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to support her because I love the health aspect of things. And there are going to be people that come on that know about gold and silver, about the economy and different things, and we're all going to support them. We're going to create our own economy here, and I want you to just be open and free and not be nervous. I said last time, I was a little nervous starting out this call, but that's a good nervous. It's a good nervous. I've been nervous at every great thing I've ever done, and so when you're just a little bit nervous, that's that little oomph you need to triumph, and so I'm just excited about all the champions that are joining us on this show every Monday, because here's another one of my predictions. We're going to see some people come on here with a business idea, and we're going to encourage them. And before the end of the year, they're going to have a big business. You watch what happens. I've seen it happen to me last year, 8 times. I've taken 8 people. I saw a young lady and her husband start with a business idea with me with no money. And now at the end of last year, they had $157,000 in cash in the bank. before taxes. And so it's just pretty cool how it works. But encouragement is the key. Let's encourage one another. Let's be, somebody asked me who was my balcony person growing up. It was my father. He always told me I could. He never told me I couldn't. He always said, you can do it, And so I want to be your balcony person. I want to be the one always saying, you can do it. And I'm standing behind you. You can do it. So, Tom, that's kind of my attitude.
And that's great attitude. Having the support of other people is so valuable in our lives. Having them believe in us as much as we believe in ourselves. And actually, sometimes they believe in us more sometimes than we believe in ourselves. You always need that kind of person, whether it's your spouse or your friend or a mentor like you. And every time we've had a conversation, every time, it never ceases to amaze me the value that you add to that conversation. And, the beautiful thing that I love about you the most is you listen and you learn. It's not beyond Joseph Land not to learn something from the conversation that you're going to have with him. It's not beyond him to want to learn more about what you do in order to add more value. So openly having conversations and being sincere and being transparent is not a bad thing. It's a good thing when you have the mentors like Joseph Land who are going to help you. And when I've been down, Joseph came to my rescue. Joseph helped me get up when I've needed, and I've had questions in my business and things I needed some advice on. Joseph has been there for me. So he's one of my shining lights that I turn to very, very often. I just want to say that to each and every one of you. But the other thing is Joseph will ask me what my opinion is. How many mentors have ever asked you, well, what is your opinion? What do you think? They want to tell you what they think, how to run your life. Have you ever had somebody that just wants to tell you how to run your life, but doesn't have any input of what you want out of your life? How do you handle that, Joseph, when people come to you, and you open up to them and you look at helping them? How do you unpeel that onion to get down to the core issue that they need or the questions that they have to be able to help them the way you do? Because you have a lot of discernment. And that's one thing I'd say about you. You look and see us when we don't see ourselves. So how do you manage that?
Well, that's a great question. And thank you, Tom, for those kind words. And you mean a lot to Jennifer and me. And we love you and care for you. And you're an amazing man. And I hope our audience gets to know more and more about you as we go, because you've certainly been a bright light in our lives as well. I'll tell you a story. I love to tell people stories because you remember the story. When you seek someone's counsel who has done what you want to do or who has the skill set to help you get to where you want to get, then you want to state your case and you want to listen. See, my mother told me that I had 2 ears and 1 mouth, and God wanted me to listen more than I talked. That's what my mom told me. But I'll never forget someone who made an appointment at my office and had called numerous times to get this appointment and wanted to come by to get my opinion on their business and if I was interested in being an investor in their business. And so I gave them an appointment time and they came to my office and we went into the boardroom, and my assistant, longtime assistant, was in the boardroom with us. And the guy started talking and he never came up for air. 30 minutes later, I had not been able to say a word. And he was just talking and talking and talking. And I said, "Sir, can you hold on just 1 second?" I interrupted him. I said, "Can you hold on just 1 second?" And I got up and I took my pad and I walked out. And I went back into my office and went back to work. Debbie, my longtime assistant, sat there with him for another 10 or 12 minutes. He said, is Mr. Land coming back? She says, "No, she's not coming back." Said, "I've known him for 30 years. He won't be back." And he said, "Why not?" He said, "Because you came to ask his advice and you never let him say one word." Is that powerful? And so when we seek other people's counsel, we should listen. We state our case and say, look, I'm humble that you would give me the time today, but what do you think about such and such and such and such? And then get you a notepad out and listen. Tom, when you're talking, or when Justin was talking, I'm making a few notes myself. I'm sitting here making notes. I'm not too arrogant to make a few notes and think that I can't learn something from everybody, you know? And so that's really important, that you want to listen to what people have to say, because that's how you learn.
Absolutely. Is there anybody else here today? I know, Emmy, you're still there, and Clarissa's still there. We haven't heard from her yet, but I don't know if her mic's working or not. Shane, is there anything else you want to add or ask or say on the show today?
Well, I just want to say a huge thank you. This is just, I feel like I just landed in a place I was looking for forever. And so thank you so, so much.
You're such a powerful lady. Let me tell you what you just said. Let me tell you what you just said. Sometimes when you land at the perfect spot that you've been looking to land at, the whole heavens have been in motion on your behalf, and boom, there it is, right there. And I've had that happen so many times in my life, that everything that you've done in your life was a preparation for such a time as this. Isn't that cool?
That's
And,
so cool.
and that's where you all are. That's where everybody is, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to share, Tom, I want to share one, and you guys are going to get to know my wife more and more. And you heard her talk. I mean, she's a first-class businesswoman. And buddy, when she talks, I listen. But I want to teach you what she has taught me. Now, I gave you the example of the lady that was rude in the store, right? My wife tells me that love wins, you know, and regardless of what we do in our interactions with people, we just going to love them anyway. If they speak poorly to us, we're going to thank them and love them anyway. Last week, my wife and I were sitting in my car, and she heard a very tough conversation I had with an individual who was telling me this and that. And I put it on the speaker so she could listen. And I was just sitting there so calm and so taken back by the conversation. But it was a dad who was hurting. And you know, sometimes you look like you're perfect to other people and you're not, and you know you're not, but they perceive you that way. And Jennifer and I had a chance just to pray and love that guy. And it wasn't 20 minutes later that this man called me back and said, I apologize for talking to you that way. So you're the nicest guy I know. And I mean, you've been such a great influence on me. And I said, hold on. His name was Willard. I said, hold on. I said, I want you to know one thing. I love you. It's okay for you to talk to me that way. I'm glad you were able to get it off your chest. And I received it. Didn't bother me a bit. And I want you to know that our relationship will probably be stronger because you have the freedom to speak to me any way you want to. And I'm just going to love you anyway. And, you know, as a matter of fact, I spoke to that gentleman this morning. I made the initiative to call him this morning and say, hey, my wife and I have been praying for you all weekend. I want you to know we love you. And he just said, gosh, I never had anybody treat me so nice. That's what he told me this morning. You know, and it's just love wins. It does. So I want to leave you with that today, Tom.
Yeah, you know, accepting people as they are because God made them who they are. And I wanted to go back. Emmy, if you're still there, you're still there. I just want to let you know, I know you're going through grief right now, and I know you're looking for answers possibly. Emmy, I want you to know that with the Ask Joseph Land and the Insiders Club, you have each and every one of our attention, and you have our support. So if there's anything that we can do to support you in this journey and make things easier for you, a word of encouragement or anything that we can say, I know that the people that on this show right now, Shane included, right? Mark, Justin, Jennifer, each and every one of us can become like a family of encouragement and support. It's not just one, but you get a whole entire army when you get this deal. I want you to understand that. So, Emmy, thank you for being here today. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
My heart is overwhelmed right now. I'm teary-eyed. Thank you so much. You gave me family. You made me believe that God really exists and he's really taking care of me. Thank you so much. I feel so blessed, and I believe this is the day that will make my future brighter and greater, and fulfill my goal of not only serving myself but everyone around me as well. Thank you. And my questions, my heart is overwhelmed right now. I have so many questions, but I'll reserve that later for our time with Joseph. And yeah, maybe in the next live session, it will be a different me. Yeah, right now I'm just very emotional. I couldn't thank God and everyone, all of you, enough for bringing me here. Joining this group. That's it.
Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to each and every one of us, and have that connectivity, each and every one of us. I'll just share that Joseph has added value, and we all try to emanate some of the stuff that he has taught us, and it's beautiful to have somebody that believes and is on a spiritual plane that can help you understand maybe what you're going through and give you some insight. God uses all kinds of people. And if God can use, and I'll just say this, a donkey, right? He sure as heck can use me, I think. So thank you for being here today. Thank you to every one of you for being here. Justin, that was some good questions you had there. And Shane, it's so excited to be here with you. And Clarissa, when you can get with us, sure enjoy a conversation. Jennifer, let's wrap this thing up a little bit, if you don't mind, Joseph. I want to hear a little bit more about Jennifer. You're sitting there so patiently, and I know I've seen your website. I see what you're doing in marketing and products and all that stuff. But what I really have seen about you that I admire so much is the support and the love and the encouragement that you not gave us, but the love and encouragement that you've inspired Joseph with. So I want you to kind of wrap this thing up a little bit for us, if you don't mind, Joseph. Say a couple more words, because you are so one of the most beautiful, talented people I've met in a very long time. So Jennifer, can you say something?
Thank you so much for that, Tom. That's just a huge compliment. And I too want to echo the words that I think just having a sense of community and the commonality just brings people closer together and takes away that distance. And love knows no barriers. And this is a great example, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this Zoom call just expand to, the millions of faces we're going to see, and be able to draw on people's real life experiences and their hurts and their joys and the sadnesses. And Emmy, I just teared up hearing your words, and it makes my day. It makes me feel grateful too for being a part, and grateful for the little things in life. So thank you so much. And I just look forward to expanding and growing as a family.
You've created a family, Joseph. You really have. I mean, we call this the Insiders Club, but I think we might have called it the family.
Right.
So Joseph, I'm going to leave this back up to you. And I know down the road, as we have these, one thing we're going to have is Jennifer's going to be co-hosting this like I'm doing right now with Joseph. And other people kind of come in and offer. And each and every one of you probably can have a time that you're going to be on the show and that you're going to be able to share what you've learned and what you know in your experience in helping every one of us grow. So thank you. Joseph, wrap this thing up. I mean, I know that we're getting close to the time to cut this off.
Yeah, thank you, Tom, and thank you, Jennifer. One of the things that I want to make sure everyone knows is that we're going to learn from each other, and we're gonna encourage each other along the way. And there will be thousands of people a part of this Insiders Club waiting to hear what you have to say. And I'm going to tell you, there are going to be times when you do come with an idea that are going to change the lives of so many people. And so be open to what God is saying to you, because in this time, there are a lot of great things happening, and I see it. And Jennifer and I, as we go, we're gonna share with you our personal life and all about who we are and what we do, and give you a glimpse. There she is, sitting in our Charleston, South Carolina penthouse condominium. You can see behind her a picture of the two of us over her head. And so you'll see we'll share a lot of things with you as we go. Jennifer and I have a 6-month-old son. He's a Yorkie teacup puppy, and we'll share him with you. His name is Maximus, and we'll share him with you as we go too. But hey, we're just gonna open our lives up to our friends and the leadership who join us here, because we want to help you become all that God has created you to be, and we want you to help us be that too in our lives. So, Tom, thank you for the excellent job you've done here today. So excited about the Insiders Club, and so excited about the people that are coming. It's a really cool thing.
Thank you so much. This is Tom Chesser, and I've been your host for today's show. And we definitely want you to reach back out to us. And if you have Joseph's contact information, which I'm sure he's been sharing, we'll put that back in the screen. If you need anything else, you have any other questions, feel free to reach out, email, text, whatever we need to do. And I'm sure he'll be willing to look at the questions and give you some helpful solutions. And if he don't have the answer, I know Joseph will find the answer. He has a lot of support in his life, and he counts on a lot of other people to give that and show that love as well. So thank you very much for being here with me today. And Joseph, I want you to go ahead and say thank you, and whatever you feel like closing it out with, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's great to have you on our show today, and we'll see you next Monday at 12 noon. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope you guys have a beautiful week, and just go for your dreams and know it's possible. So we'll see you here next Monday at noon, and have a great week, and God bless you all.
Thank you now.